Whew. Tastes like a Saturday night at college. Be my drink of choice, which you all know what it is. I think I only have one more left. Let me see. About 3 shows I've drank it, and I drank one. Yeah, I think I have one left. So it's gonna be the last one. I'm probably not gonna get any more after this, but I already talked about that. Anyway, thank you, and welcome to a brand new episode of Dylan Knows. It is 9:40 p.m. I only missed it by about 10 minutes. It's daddy-daughter weekend. Let me discuss that real quick. My lovely wife, Dawn Snarks, is the scout leader, troop leader, whatever you want to call it, for my son's Cub Scout troop. And this weekend is their summer camping at a place called Oast. They left about 10 a.m. this morning, and they won't back till Monday. So hopefully they're having a good time. You may very well get a phone call. You might hear a phone call or whatever. She might be calling me tonight, say goodnight or whatever, or text, and you might see that, hear that during the next 2 hours. If that's the case, that's all it is. My wife probably saying goodnight. But she is somewhere in Pennsylvania, I believe, with our son Noah. So it just leaves me and my daughter Noelle. We're having a daddy-daughter weekend, another one. We had one last year. And maybe the year before that too, I can't remember, but it's always been fun. And so what we did today, she had never seen The Princess Diaries with Anne Hathaway and Julie Andrews and Hector Elizondo and Heather Matarazzo. So we decided to, I asked her, hey, do you want to watch a movie? She said, yeah. So we chose that one. For those who don't know, Princess Diaries is a sweet Disney film about a 15-year-old geek, nerdy outcast, as it were, played by Anne Hathaway, one of her early roles, who discovers that she is a princess, and her grandmother, the Queen, played by Julie Andrews, who she hasn't seen in 15 years, needs her to declare that she wants to be the princess because her father has just recently died in an accident. And since the Queen is the Queen of the country Genovia by marriage and not blood, they need a blood relative or whatever to run it. And Mia, who is played by Anne Hathaway, is blood since she is the daughter of the true king who passed away in an accident. So it's basically about her trying to come to terms with becoming a princess, as the same time growing up as a 15-year-old and stuff like that. It's a sweet, cute thing. My daughter liked it. It's got some goofy scenes from Disney, directed by Gary Marshall. So it's got some sweet moments. It's got some nice moments, and it's got some crazy moments. So definitely check it out. So we watched that. She enjoyed that, and then we went to the Green Turtle for lunch. Had their crab pizza, which was pretty good, and I think she had a cheese pizza, and I had a chicken ranch thing. It's pretty good. And then we did laser tag, which is always a lot of fun. We have a really great laser tag place up the street from here. It's about 10 minutes away. If that, it might be more like 5 minutes. It's a turn, 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 turn there. So it's not that far away, but it's a really neat laser tag thing. It's a 2-level one, so you got ramps that go up, and it's in the dark, and they have the dark lights to make everything glow because everything's painted with that type of paint. You also get fog pumped in and music, bassy, very techno-esque type of music being beat in, and then there's lots of obstacles, places to hide, lots of ramps to go up and down. So it's pretty cool, and it's a lot of fun. We've been there a bunch of times, and I highly recommend if you have a laser tag place like this, definitely go. It's worth it. $16 for 4 games, which amounts to about 45 minutes. So it's pretty decent, and it's a lot of fun. And it also helps you socialize a little bit, because if there's a lot of people who want to go in, you all go in together and you separate the teams. You're the red team and blue team, and they both have a base, and you got the laser. So you want to shoot people, but also you want to shoot the bases to get you your points. So you get points. Whoever has the most points obviously wins each round, stuff like that. They do birthday parties. They have an arcade thing. They've got miniature golf. They've got pizza and soda and stuff like that. They also have another laser tag area that is not an arena so much as for older kids. You can go and do like pretend you're an anti-terrorism group, and they've got like stuff you got to do, or it's a treasure hunt thing. And the funniest thing is when I walked up to the door today with my daughter, because that's what she wanted to do today. She said, "Let me get this drink here." She wanted to do laser tag, so we went and did laser tag. And on the sign outside, they said, "We're sorry. We'll be closed tomorrow, July 9th, which is Sunday, due to Armageddon." And you're like, huh? And she says, not the end of the world, but a tournament. So there's actually going to be a laser tag tournament at this place tomorrow. So we can't go tomorrow to play. So I'm glad we went today because we wouldn't have been able to go tomorrow. So I'm glad we went today. We're probably going to go see Despicable Me 3 tomorrow. I wanted to see Spider-Man this weekend. I was going to go Thursday night to one of the Thursday night showings. I had Friday off, but I was just too exhausted and tired from my work day. Plus I went to the dentist and had some work done, and it was painful. And then Friday I had off, and I had the kids with me, and they didn't really want to see Spider-Man, and we just didn't really want to move because it was a rainy, dreary kind of day. And I was tired. They were tired. And I had to go in and get more stuff done to my teeth. So I had a mouthful of Novocaine for 5 hours. The side of my face was numb. It was like, how's it going? That type of thing. So it was crazy. So I didn't get a chance to see Spider-Man, and she doesn't want to go see Spider-Man, so I'll have to figure out another time to see it. I'll be talking about Spider-Man in a little bit. But I just want to tell you, this is what our date night, or not date night, was what our daddy-daughter weekend is about. So laser tag was really, really fun. We were on separate teams, and I was on the red team, she was on the blue team, and we both won 2 games, so we end up 2-2. And we played with some other people who were really cool also. Some kids her age, some grown-ups as well. And it's fun for grown-ups too. They have a 120-minute one, which is really expensive, which I would love to do. It's a 2-hour laser tag event, which would be really sweet to do, but no one wants to do it with me, so oh well. So what do we got going today? The main bit of the story, which I'll get to probably around 10:15ish or so, is Pokemon versus Spider-Man. Not really a Pokemon versus Spider-Man, but Pokemon Go, the cell phone game, smartphone game that hit the nation last year, celebrated its 1-year anniversary. Yes, I am, Patrick. I am drinking a Zima. You have to watch one of my episodes from the past to explain why I am. It brings back memories of college. And man card rejected? I don't think so, son. Delicious. So Pokemon Go came out a year ago, July 6th, and it took the world by storm. And Dawn got into it really quickly, and it took me about another week. So I started on the 14th of July last year. So, but since then we've been playing it, and I want to talk about that a little bit because it's a big deal in our household, not just for Dawn and I, but for the kids as well. I want to talk about Spider-Man, the movie, even though I didn't see it. Spider-Man is my guy. For those who know me, been watching my show, know that Spider-Man is the first comic that my dad ever got for me. He actually gave me his comic book collection and got me started on my comic book world. It's all been Spider-Man. Now, I haven't been as big of a fan of Spider-Man lately for whatever reason, and we'll get into that in a little bit. I don't exactly can tell you why that's the case, but it is the case. And so we'll talk about that in a little bit too. But first, on one of these usual episodes, I like to just throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and see what sticks for a while. So I'll throw a bunch of stuff at you. We'll do the main stories of Pokemon and Spider-Man. If I have any time left over, I'll do some more stories as well. There's some interesting stuff that's been going on. So should we start with the bad stuff first? Let's start with bad stuff first. Last year, there was a lot of celebrity deaths, which affected a lot of people. Bowie, Prince, stuff like that. And it just seemed like it kept going and going and going. And this year hasn't been as bad. There have been some whoppers, like my favorite supporting actor, Miguel Ferrer, died this year, but I did a show about him already back in February, so we're not going to cover that ground again. But it hasn't been as bad death-wise celebrities this year, but a couple celebrities came out this year. Thanks for the hashtag Dylan Loves Zima. It's a college thing, Patrick. I'll send you the link to my episode where I discuss my Zima fascination. Feels like college again, Got the goatee going too, just because I didn't feel like shaving today. If you want to call it a goatee, anyway. But yeah, we've had some deaths this week that have been a little rough. Joan Lee is the first one we'll talk about. Stan Lee's wife of 69 years. They were married for 69 years. She died at the age of 93 this year, or a couple days ago. She lived a long life, and she was Stan Lee's wife and constant companion for almost 70 years, which is almost unfathomable to me, because let's see, she was 93, so if you go back 70 years, they got married around 22, 23. So, I mean, that makes sense. It was a different time frame, and the fact that they stayed married for 69 to 70 years is just a wow, amazing thing. So, I know Stan's probably not in the best shape right now, but she was 93 years old, and she's, when most people die, you always say they're in a better place. No matter what your religious take on things are, you're hoping that whatever pain they were suffering through via illness, depression, or whatever, they are now, happy and satisfied, hopefully, and hopefully not the other area, the bad area. Also, just revealed today, and this is kind of sad because this actor, though I never really watched the show because it never interested me, he's younger than I am, and he died. Nelson Ellis died at the age of 39. He played Lafayette on True Blood, that show on HBO about gothic vampires based on the book series. I forget who wrote it, but about Sookie and all that. But he, apparently a lot of people, he played one of the most flamboyant characters on the show, and he knocked it out of the park. And he died of heart failure today at the age of 39, which is astonishing to me because that was, let's see, I'm 44. 40, 39. It was five years younger than I was. He was 5 years younger than I am. And he's gone. He died. Thank you, Scott. Charlene Harris wrote the books. Thank you, Scott. Thank you. I appreciate that. My wife Dawn read all of them, but we never watched True Blood because we didn't have HBO, and I didn't buy any of the videos because, to be honest, she really wasn't interested in them, and to be honest, neither am I. I mean, yeah, it has Anna Paquin being naked, but there's more to life than that, right? There's Zima, right? So that's sad. And then in the Snark Alec world, a couple weeks ago, I talked about my group, the Snark Alecs, losing one of our own, the first time we've ever lost one of ours. And she was really, really young. Miss Amy Fagara, she's been gone now about 2 weeks. And she was much younger than I was. She was at least 14 years younger than I was. But we had another, and then we had a bad week. My co-host MJ Khan's mother passed away, and my former co-host Bronwyn's husband Steve, his grandmother passed away. So it's starting to get to that point where there's a lot of deaths starting to happen, not only in celebrity worlds but in friends that you know about. And we had another death this week. My co-host Jerry Fletcher, her grandmother, passed away this week. So hearts and prayers go out to Jerry. Again, no idea when I will get her back on the show. But you know what? That's not important. What's important is that Jerry is there for her family, and she's recovering and surviving and moving, hopefully, moving along and stuff like that. My co-host MJ Khan, his mother passed away a few weeks ago. He's getting back in the swing of things slowly, ever so slowly. He's still got some stuff he's got to work out for the rest of this month, but he is itching to get back onto the show. We're looking like the first weekend in August. If I can get a good signal, we will do a show, because that'll be the weekend I'll be on vacation down at the Outer Banks, and normally we don't have really good Wi-Fi reception. So I'm going to give it a try. I think I'm going to try to do an episode on vacation at a beach house. So that's not till beginning of August. So we got about a month to go before you guys see that episode. Should be a lot of fun if I can actually get it to work. And I think it will, because a few years ago, there was an episode of Snarkalic Radio that we did while we were on vacation, and I didn't think we'd be able to do it, but Dawn ended up doing it for us. So she was on the show and did an okay job. I think she cut in and out a little bit, so we'll see, because it's weird. I don't know why. I guess because of the beach location, that the Wi-Fi signals are not all that strong are powerful for stuff like that. So we'll see about that one. But as I said, that's when he's aiming to come back, because we always do the first weekend of the month. It's just the way we've always done it. Almost 3-4 years I've been doing this show. 4 years actually, in September. So we're going to try to keep that up again. So we'll see about that. So condolences to Jerry. MJ's coming back, and then some good news. One of our Snarkalic friends, I'm not going to give her name away, even though she has given her notice, but I just want to throw out there some good news. One of our Snarkalic friends, who has been on the show once before. I think she was on the show. She was at least on Snarkalic Radio, and I did an episode with her. I think she was on an episode of my show too. One of the old, long time ago, a couple years ago. But she's still friends of ours. She got basically her dream job. She did an interview for it, and she got it. So she starts in a couple weeks. So it's good for her. I'm not going to mention that just in case she doesn't want me to mention it. And then just got some other good news. My former co-host Bronwyn from Dylan Knows International, her and her husband Steve basically kind of eloped, but got married late 2016 at a comic book store in New York City, I believe, with an official, they were officially married on that date, but it was more of an elopement. They wanted to not wait anymore. Diana says the books are better than the show. That's what my wife says too. So I haven't read the books. We're talking about Charlie Harrison, True Blood, but I haven't read them, but my wife agrees with you, Diana. She said that she liked the books, and she had seen an episode. I think we had like an HBO free preview. I think she wanted to check it out, and she said she didn't like the show all that much, so we'll see. But my former co-host Bronwyn eloped, but officially was married to her husband Steve in New York City at a comic book store. New Outer Banks. Oh, Shelly Island. Yes, I did hear about that. I'm sorry. My friend Patrick Smith just let me know there is a new Outer Banks island called Shelly Island. I did see it, Patrick, but I think it's a little bit further away from where I'm going to be at. But yeah, that's pretty cool that a new island just appeared. But Bronwyn and her husband Steve eloped, but were officially married last year in New York City at a comic book store. And so Steven moved back, or not moved back to, but moved to Canada to live with Bronwyn. They got their own place together. And so they've been happily married for, 8 months now. But they wanted to have an official wedding with their family and friends. I think they invited some family to this elopement thing, but they wanted a bigger to-do, and they're doing that today. So congratulations again to them. getting married. This time in Canada, you're getting married. So I guess maybe you were officially married in America, but now you're officially married in Canada. So good luck to them. And I hope to get Bronwyn back on the show, hopefully a couple times this year. I want to get back in touch with her about Doctor Who, and I want to, clarify this marriage elopement thing with her as well in a segment I haven't done in a while called Have a Happy. So I hope to get her back on the show in a little bit, and maybe even get Steve on there too, because he's got a really good job with JoeBlow.com, which is a great website for entertainment news and stuff like that. So good news and bad news for everybody. Here's some interesting news that I found out today as well. It's raining in Antarctica, which, no matter what you believe in climate change or global warming, or whatever you want to call it, the fact that right now in Antarctica, it's negative like 60 degrees because it's winter in the southern hemisphere, summer up here in the northern hemisphere. So they have like no sunlight and roaring storms, lots of cold and wind. But today there's something interesting going on. It is warm enough in their usually brutally cold winter, in some cases where it's colder than on the surface of other planets, it's raining. And now, is it a coincidence that in an area that is supposed to be undergoing brutally cold conditions right now is actually allowing rain? Because you would not get rain if your temperature is where it's supposed to be down there. It's supposed to be in the negative 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s down there, because it's southern pole, South Pole, and it's winter down there. It's supposed to be that cold. But in order to get rain in Antarctica, you have to be over the freezing mark, which means that right now, where it's supposed to be, as I said, in the negative degree temperatures down in Antarctica, since they have rain, it is now basically like winter up here in the northern hemisphere, where it's over 32 degrees and it's not snow or ice, it's rain. So I don't know if that's just because of a expansion of warm air or whatever, but the fact is that's a little scary. Oh, Jeremy Renner. Okay. I was like, what the heck did I write there? So that's something you might want to get a little worried about, but I'm not sure. Jeremy Renner, who plays Hawkeye in the Avengers movies, just revealed that he has fractured both of his arms doing a stunt for the new Avengers Infinity War movie coming out next May. So we hope he has a swift recovery, and hopefully it's not too terrible for him. Let's see what's up next. Now, a lot of people see my name, Top Ramen, excuse me. I like to put little funny names down here at the bottom here. So why the heck did you pick Top Ramen, Dylan? Well, let me tell you why. I've also liked to bring new types of food and drink to the show to get people interested into maybe trying some new things, or if I try them, because I like trying new things all the time, no matter how disgusting they may sound, I like to try them, and then I give them my report. I've done it for the last few episodes of this show. I've done at least one little segment where I've talked about something. Last week it was the Jolly Rancher Pop-Tarts, which, as I said, are okay. If you're a Jolly Rancher fan, you really get the flavor of the Jolly Rancher in the middle of your Pop-Tart. But if you're not, then it's not something you want to take care of. So just found out today that Pringles, the potato chip people who are in the tube, which I also love because they're so crunchy and very tasty, and they're bad for you because they've got lots of flavoring and stuff like that and lots of fat on it. They are releasing a limited edition Pringles flavor Top Ramen Chicken Pringles. So if you're a ramen fan from college, Zima was my lifeblood. For a lot of people, ramen was, because ramen's inexpensive and it's easy to make and it's filling, kind of, I guess. But ramen is a big thing. There's ramen pizza also, I think I saw an article or story about. But this was the one that made me scratch my head. They're doing a Top Ramen chicken flavored Pringle. I haven't seen it in my store yet. I don't know if I will, because I haven't seen my Reese's cookie middles. You know, last year Reese's peanut butter cups put Reese's Pieces in their peanut butter cups, and this year they put cookies in the middle of their Reese's peanut butter cups. And I've had them once, but that was at a Royal Farm store, which is like a gas station store, you know, like a Quick Check or something like that in your area. And I haven't seen it there since, and I haven't seen it at the grocery store yet. Usually they get it a little bit after everyone else does. So I'm kind of in the mood, because I actually really like that. So I might have to go to another, like a Wawa or a Highs or something like that, and see if I can find, or maybe a newer Royal Farm store than the one I have, to see if they have it there. There's a couple of them around that I can take a look at, because I want to get back to that. But I have not seen the Top Ramen chicken flavored Pringles. Now, they might not have been released yet, or maybe they're going to be released really soon. But, you know, if you like ramen or you want to try something different, I'll try it once. But I've never been a big fan of ramen anyway, because I never really, you know, during college, well, other people subsisted on ramen. I subsisted on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. You get peanut butter, you get some jelly, you get some bread. Not too expensive. You get hungry in the middle of the night or whatever, you just whip up a little sandwich, get a soda, boom, you're good. Or water or Zima, whatever you want. Peanut butter and jelly was fantastic. That was my lifeblood, and food-wise. Studying 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, midnight, the cafeteria is closed. You've eaten 6 hours ago, and you're getting a little a little hungry, and you're going to be up till like 3 a.m. So hey, peanut butter and jelly, squish in your mouth. But people had ramen and they like that, so we'll see. Did I talk about Jolly Rancher Pepsi? I might not have, because I have it on my list here. I thought, yes, I did. I talked about it. Yes, I did. So I don't know why this is on here. So zip that off, because I know I talked about it last week. So I'm going to zip that off of there. One less thing to talk about. This week was the 4th of July, Independence Day here in America. I did my show on Sunday. I have no idea last time I did my show. It's either Sunday or Saturday. I think it was Sunday. Was it? I don't know. It doesn't matter. But, you know, had a low-key 4th of July this year. Usually go to my uncle's house, which I did this year, and we celebrated my dad's 70th birthday. His 70th birthday was back in the early June. And my Uncle Frank is moving to South Carolina, and so celebrating, you know, saying goodbye to him as well. But what was kind of neat about it, and this kind of connects to what I'm talking about in a little bit, is my Uncle Frank. 1 second. Yes, I am totally serious, Pat. I am totally serious. The ramen chicken, Top Ramen chicken flavored Pringles. And I think I saw that one, I don't know for sure, but I kind of remember seeing something that had ramen in it that was just kind of unusual besides the Pringles. So yeah, it's absolutely right. It's odd. As I said, I never really ate ramen, and I honestly don't see I can see it. It's inexpensive, but I can't see. I guess maybe you get used to the flavor eventually. So there's really no July 4th parades around my area in Reisterstown. Scott says, sounds disgusting to him. Yeah, it's pretty disgusting, man. There's no real big parades around here. There's a parade in Towson, which is where I grew up. Which is about 20, 25 minutes away from here. And it's always packed, and you have to park like at Towson Town Center, which is the big mall there, and you got to walk over, which isn't a big deal, but you know, you got to find the right spot. Now, I have memories of the Towson parade. I talked about them on other shows I did, but I'll just reiterate there. I proposed to Dawn at the 4th of July parade in Towson in 2002. There's a whole story behind that, but I talked about that already a couple years ago on one of my episodes. So, you know, there's not really a parade around here, which, you know, is okay. And to be honest, we've never really been big into fireworks. Now, we like watching them and listening to them, but you know what? We're not going to go out of our way to say, let's go watch fireworks. In fact, it's kind of cool, actually. There's a place called the Carroll County Farm Museum. It's a little bit of a hike away, but on 4th of July and on New Year's Eve also, I believe, if you're up in my kids' rooms, because my kids' rooms look onto the back of our house, and the back of our house looks towards the Westminster area. It doesn't look on. It looks on the 795, and then there's a golf course, and then you keep going. Westminster's way up there. You're not going to be able to see it from there, but you're going to be able to, generally see the area and around that Carroll County Farm Museum. So there'll be times during the 4th of July or New Year's where we can hear the fireworks going off at the Carroll County Farm Museum. They do one of the big displays. And if you're lucky, if they go high enough and you're in my daughter's room or my son's room, you might be able to catch some of the explosions up in the air, because, when you want to watch fireworks, you got to get them high up in the air. So as the crow flies, we can see for a long ways. So we can actually see the fireworks from our kids' rooms if we want to. But at the same time, you can also hear the fireworks from Oregon Ridge, which is a little bit more of a hike away in Hunt Valley. You can't see them because it's way too far away, but you can hear them. They're a bit not as loud, but you can hear still the sounds further away. But then, of course, we have lots of schools around the area as well. And we are not that far from the Pennsylvania line. Now, in Maryland, giant fireworks are illegal. You can do the fountains and the sparklers and other little stuff you get like at little booths they set up at right next to gas stations or something like that. But you can't get the cool stuff, the really big explosive stuff. It's illegal in Maryland to shoot them off. I don't know why. It's the same thing with here in Maryland. Also, we don't sell alcohol in grocery stores, and also liquor stores are closed on Sunday. There are some exceptions, but the majority of stuff, liquor stores are closed Sunday. We don't sell liquor in grocery stores, and fireworks or big fireworks are illegal. Now, the big displays down in Baltimore City, Carroll County Farm Museum, Oregon Ridge, they're all given free passes or whatever you want to call them by the county, because it's a fundraising event, because you got to pay money to get it, and it goes to Baltimore County or Carroll County or wherever. So they allow it them because it's under controlled circumstances, but you can't go and buy your own fireworks and have your own fireworks display. Of course, here in Reisterstown, we're only about 10 minutes, maybe 15 away from the Pennsylvania line. And in Pennsylvania, it's legal to shoot off those and sell those big fireworks. So, of course, because they're smart, right over the Pennsylvania line, you're usually going to find giant firework buildings, warehouses, or these big display things that are much bigger than the ones that we have here in Maryland that just do the dinky stuff. This Pennsylvania stuff has the heavy-duty stuff. And so, as I said, being only 10, 15 minutes away from the Pennsylvania line, you cross the line, you buy your stuff, you come back across the line, and then on 4th of July, since we have lots of schools around here, lots of fields with no lights on them, you can sneak out, and you can launch all the fireworks you want. And the police, might eventually get called or for noise problems or whatever, but you're still able to do that. Now, the problem with that is, and I had firsthand proof of this because we've had baseball fields. Let me see where they would be that way. We got baseball fields not that far from here. They're attached to the middle school. My road ends in a cul-de-sac type of thing. It's a dead end. You can't go anywhere else. And then you go down this hill, and then you get to the 1, 2, 1. Hold on a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have 5 baseball fields. And then the middle schools, right? Their middle school's pretty big. But it's a lot of big grassy area, and there's trash cans and bleachers and stuff like that. So, and there's no lights around the fields because, people do their sports during the day, early in the morning or in the early afternoon, but never at night, or around twilight when you can still see okay. The only lights might come from the middle school, a little bit of a ways, the elementary school a little bit of a ways, and there's like a temple, a Indian temple over there also, which always has these flashing lights on. But for the most part, it's a dark area. It's one that, you know, we're a fairly safe neighborhood, but it's one that you don't really want to cross at night, because there could be people out there who could try to attack you, or there might even be animals, because we still have like a wooded area around that, and the animals come out at night. So, but regardless, so these people who go across the state line and grab the stuff and then bring it back over, they go to one of these, you know, school fields, and they launch the fireworks off of them. Now you get a nice open field. There's no trees because it's a field, so it's like the perfect spot so you can see it. See, the problem is, after they're done, they don't give a rat's ass. They leave. And in the morning, when the light and the sun comes up and you see everything, all their shit is still there. The garbage, the containers, the burnt out containers that had the fireworks, trash cans that they moved, that they shot stuff out of, is charred and has stuff stuffed in it, and the bottle caps, stuff like that, are all over the baseball field. Now, why should the middle school cleaning staff, landscaping, have to clean that shit up? You should clean your own stuff up. Now, you think that might be okay, that's just one school. No, there's another school not too far away from here, and I've driven by near the laser tag place I talked about earlier. And, you know, driving along there, once again, open fields. There's about 4 or 5 fields there too. They use that to shoot off their fireworks too. Their trash cans, at least they don't have the shit on the ground, but their trash cans are full to the brim with all these boxes and containers and burnt out stuff. And it just looks bad. And I don't know how the trash cans get emptied. I mean, I guess maybe during the school year, the landscaping people do it, but you know what? The school's out now, and I don't think they might mow the lawn, you know, so that it doesn't get too high, maybe once a month, or if we had a lot of rain, maybe every couple weeks. But they're not out there every day manicuring the lawn, you know. And, you know, kids are still playing baseball there, and have the rec league and stuff like that. And that shit is still sitting in the middle of the grass and on the baseball diamonds, and it's not going to get cleaned up. So that's kind of a bad thing. And then this year, with 4th of July being on a Tuesday, and I guess this happens every year, fireworks start like on July 1st. So from the 1st and even into the 5th, I heard fireworks every day from July 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. For those 5 days, I heard fireworks every night. Now, I'm not one of those that cares, because my cat isn't affected by it. Now, I know there are a lot of people whose animals are affected by it, or their kids are sleeping and they can't sleep because they hear the fireworks. My kids sleep like the dead. My cat could care less what's going on. But, and it's kind of neat hearing the pop, 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 and the explosion and stuff like that. But every day for 5 days, that gets kind of annoying after a while. And I know that it affects other people in our neighborhood, their animals and their kids. Some have younger kids that they need their sleep. I always freaked out when they did it when my kids were younger, but luckily my kids, being younger, they've slept like the dead forever, so they never really heard anything. It was never affected by any of the stuff. Plus, they're used to the sound because their bedrooms, it's just the way it worked out with the way our house, they look out on the 795, which is a big highway that connects 695, which is a big highway that connects DC and Maryland, and other places as well. I think it even goes down south and up north a little bit. It connects those people to the cities out here, Westminster and Owings Mills and Reisterstown and Glendon, so we can use that to get to 695 easier than having to take this back route around and taking an extra 30 minutes to get to 695. Now we have a highway that takes us to it. Now, our house looks out on the end of 795, so, you know, people are starting to slow down, they're exiting and stuff like that. It literally, it ends. I mean, 795 turns into like Route 30 or something like that. And I'm glad I'm cracking somebody up, Patrick. But thank you. This one's for you, man. So, since the kids were babies, now you hear trucks with their air brakes, and you hear motorcycles and cars and police sirens and stuff like that, and helicopters sometimes. But our house is still insulated enough that we've got good insulation on the house. And we also have a woods in the back. It's not a big woods, but it's enough that there's lots of trees that can deaden some of the sounds. So you can still hear the sounds from the highway, but we've lived here so we moved in July 3rd, 2004. So it's been 13 years. We've lived here for 13 years. And so we've all gotten used to the sounds. Like right now, I hear a helicopter, but it doesn't affect me because I'm used to it. The motorcycles, the air brakes on trucks, you can hear all that. The kids grew up listening to that, so it became something that they became used to. So they were able to sleep through all this stuff. So it's not a big deal. So with fireworks going off, it's just more noise that it's different than what they're used to, but it's noise, and to them, they're used to noise, so they don't care. So they don't really wake up or get freaked out by it. The only thing that freaks out my son is when we get a sudden rainstorm that comes up, thunder and lightning, and the rain pounding on the windows of his window. That's what wakes him up. My daughter sleeps through it. As you know, I did a Twin Peaks episode, I don't know, about a month or so ago, and it was upstairs. And while I was doing it, Noah came downstairs because he was scared because there was a thunderstorm rolling through, which is still, go back and you find, I think it was it was one of the coolest things. I did it upstairs. It was 195. It was like 190. It was like a month or so. 191, episode 191. So it was 7 episodes ago. I did it upstairs in my kitchen because my wife was, I think that was the day she went. It was in May. She went to St. Michael's to run her half marathon. So I had the kids, and we were going to go to the Oriole game the next day. So I did it on a Friday night, and it was all about the new Twin Peaks because it was the Friday before the new Twin Peaks was going to start that Sunday. So I wanted to, do a preview and stuff like that. And I will be doing a Twin Peaks episode soon enough once my buddy, Official Pagan, Mike Belinsky, comes back from his trip in Costa Rica. He just got there today. He's going to be there for a couple weeks, so it might not be till August, but we'll be talking about Twin Peaks, the new series, in a little bit. But it was so cool is the way that I had it set up. You could see out into our back through our windows. And during the show, lightning constant, and there was like some rumbles of thunder, but the lightning was constant. You could see it. It's one of the coolest things. So go back and look at episode 191, check it out. But at the same time, that woke Noah up. So I'm doing the show around the same time, 10, 11 o'clock, and he comes downstairs. He's scared. So it's like, look, I'm doing a show live. You want to sit over on the sofa, and I'll watch you. And if you get scared, just let me know. And so he just laid down on the sofa while I did my show. So I'm a bit distracted once he gets down there, but it's still, I think it was a pretty good show. So it's a quick one. And eventually the storm passed, and I took him back upstairs, and I finished up. I stopped the show, took him upstairs, and then came back down and did another episode, like a part B type of episode. So there's 2 of those. So it's odd for me that the fireworks going off for 5 straight days, it's a little bit of overkill. And it affects other people as it doesn't affect us, but it affects other people. And you need to start thinking about that. Plus, you got to clean up your shit, dude. I mean, it looks bad. So that's all I got to say about that. Now, speaking of my son, Noah, he is really into Moana, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a fun Disney musical. But I think what did it was, there have been a bunch of videos that he's found on YouTube, which he finds hilarious. Some of them are, they take clips from Moana and they add special effects or sound effects, goofy things to it, and it cracks him up all the time. And then there's, I've talked about this website before, or not website, YouTube show called Everything Wrong With, and it's from CinemaSins, and they sin popular movies. And they did a Moana one, and he watches it constantly over and over again. And so we've watched Moana a few times. I like it. I mean, I do like it. But he just seems to like it a lot. And we got this wooden axe. Now, it's not a real axe. It's like an axe you take to like the Renaissance fair. Like the one that a troll or something would have in a fantasy film. It's a play axe, but it's made of wood, and it's heavy, And I'm always worried that when he starts swinging it around, he's going to wreck something, because he does it. He swings it around and it has fun. He puts it in his back, down his shirt. So he's like carrying it on his back. It's really cute. But he calls it his fish hook. And for those who've seen Moana, Maui, who's a demigod, he gets his shape-shifting powers from a magical fish hook. And so he pretends that axe is the magical fish. It's really quite cute. So I don't know what it is, and I have no problem with it. It's just really kind of cute, and it's kind of funny that he likes Moana. Now let's see what my friend Patrick says here. When I lived in my apartment, I got so used to noise, I slept right through it. When I moved here, so quiet, I couldn't sleep. Yeah, unfortunately, that is some of the bad things. And I can only imagine what would happen if we ever decide to move. At this point, we're not going anywhere, so we get to it. But I can only imagine going it's like living in the city, and you get used to the noise of the city, and then you move out to the country and you're like, what the hell? I can hear myself think, and you start freaking out because you don't have that ambient noise in your head. It's not an unusual problem. So thanks for sharing that, Patrick. That's really kind of cool. Let's see. Shark Week. Yeah, let's talk about Shark Week. Not the actually, I gotta dig this up, see if I can find it. Not the Shark Week that we get on Discover, but I talked about Snark Alex earlier. Patrick is a member of the Snark Alex. What we do is we got together from watching the bad sci-fi films when they used to make them, like the Sharknadoes and stuff like that. And so they don't do them anymore, which is a shame. But at least they did them a few years ago when the Snark Alex were formed, and that's how our group formed and how we all became friends and stuff like that. Here we go. I found the post. For the 1 week where they're going to release a new Sharknado movies, because that's the one that gives them the highest ratings and gets them a lot of press coverage, stuff like that. So they're on Sharknado 5 now, and that's coming out in July. They, instead of doing their bad sci-fi movies on Saturdays during the whole year, they compress a bunch to 1 week and do them all about sharks, and it's Shark Week. So Shark Week this year on Sci-Fi starts off on Sunday, July 30th with 5-headed shark attack. We've seen 3-headed shark attack. We've seen 2-headed shark attack, 3-headed shark attack, and last year was 4-headed shark attack. So obviously, 5-head shark attack is the next step. Monday, July 31st is Mississippi River Sharks, which in and of itself sounds pretty awesome. Wednesday, there's none on Tuesday. I guess because of face-off, I guess. Wednesday, August 2nd, Trailer Park Shark. Actually, no, let me read the description of these. Hold on. So 5-headed shark, we'll go backwards. Let me read the description for them real quick. 5-headed shark attack, Sunday, July 30th, 8 o'clock. Shaped like a demented starfish, a monster 5-headed shark terrorizes the open ocean before invading the beaches of Puerto Rico, endangering the once peaceful island paradise. Monday's Mississippi River Sharks, also 8 o'clock. Sharks attack a fish rodeo on the Mississippi River and is up to a group of locals to stop them. Ooh, the London twins, Jason London and Jeremy London, are in that one. Wednesday, August 2nd, Trailer Park Shark, 8 o'clock, 7 Central. A tropical storm floods Soggy Meadows Trailer Park and forces a hungry shark upriver. Trailer Park Shark reunites Sharknado's Tara Reid with her American Pie co-star Thomas Ian Nichols. Thursday, August 3rd is Toxic Shark, 8 o'clock. Scott Traum was like, please tell me they got Honey Boo Boo and her mom for Trailer Park. I didn't see their names on here, Scott, but it wouldn't surprise me. Thursday, August 3rd, Toxic Shark, 8 o'clock. A tropical singles retreat takes a terrifying turn when guests realize a poisonous shark is infesting the surrounding water. Not only will this toxic shark rip apart its victims, but it also uses projectile acid to hunt. Sweet. That's another good one. Saturday, August 5th. Now, this one, I'll have to do some research, but last year they did a similar sounding movie that my snooze co-host Tony Solo hated, and I have to double check and check our Shark Week from last week, which I'll get into in a second. About this, but Saturday, August 5th is Empire of the Sharks at 8 o'clock. I guess Friday is out also because they got their regular shows then too. Set in a future where most of Earth is covered by water and the only land left is controlled by a warlord who rules with an army of hyper-intelligent sharks. Unlucky humans are used as shark food, but when two friends risk their lives to rescue a trapped prisoner, those in prison decide to rise against their captor and his legion of bloodthirsty sharks. I'll have to double check and make sure if that is the same. It sounds similar, but it was the only ones from last year that I didn't watch because I was doing something. I don't know. Then finally, of course, Sunday, August 6th, Sharknado 5, Global Swarming. As shark-infested storms grow stronger and more complex, the world braces for the inevitable, a global Sharknado. This year, the mission gets personal for chainsaw-wielding leader Finn Shepard and his bionic wife, April, when their young son gets trapped in a Sharknado and is transported all over the world. Cameos include Olivia Newton-John, her real-life daughter Chloe Lattanzi as brilliant scientists, Fabio as the Pope, Charo as the Queen of England, Portia Williams as an archaeologist, Bret Michaels, Clay Aiken, and Chris Kattan are in there as well. So that's Shark Week from Sci-Fi this week. It starts on July 30th and goes through August 5th. Now, the last one, Sharknado 5, I will be at the beach. So we'll have to watch it down at the beach. But last year at this time, Kelly Toole, who is one of the Snark Alex, came up with an idea to do well, it was just 2 years ago he came up with the idea, and then we ran with it again last year, called Shark Week here. And we all have shows. Kelly has a couple shows. He's got oh geez, Kelly's gonna kill me. I just saw his stuff. Squat Cobbler, and Nurture and Support. So he's got those two. We have the snooze that Tony and I do. We have this show, Dylan Knows, and they could probably fire up Snarkalic Radio, which Kelly, Tony, and Mike did, and they'll probably invite me on there as well. So that leaves us with one more show we need to do now. Kelly and I are trying to work out which one that's going to be. We might bring in an old friend called Young Jean. She used to have a show called Bring Out Your Geek, but she hasn't done it in a while. And if that's not the case, Kelly and I might just create a show of our own that we do once a year for Shark Week and do that. So what we do then is we watch the movies and we'll snark it like we always do on Twitter. And that's how we met. The Snark Alex all met. We do it on Twitter. And then after the movie, we do our show live and do reaction review show. Now, we've done it the last 2 years. It was Kelly's idea 2 years ago. We had Mike's Fireside Chat also. I don't think he's doing that anymore either, so we could always do that in as well. So we did that. He did that 2 years ago, and then last year we did it again because it worked out so well. So we're going to probably do it again this year as well because it works out pretty well, and it gives a chance to, it becomes a part of the Dylan Knows catalog. I did remember 2 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, when we started this, I was able to interview the director of Three-Headed Shark Attack at the time, which was really cool. So that was a surprise, and I actually got to do that, and it was not one of my better ones, so I'm not really good at interviewing people, but it was still entertaining enough that I enjoyed doing it, and it was kind of cool. So look for Shark Week to happen again. And watch us on Twitter. You'll see the Snark Alex back in action when these movies come out. This is what we live for. So, we'll come back en masse. We can easily trend these movies very quickly. We've done it for years. So it's a lot of fun. So that's what's going on with that. So we're excited about that. What time are we at? 10:33. Almost doing the show for about an hour now. Let's see. A couple more little notes, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty. This is a good story. Luckily, it originally, before I started, I forgot to continue with that. Real quick, get back to July 4th. So my Uncle Frank, I'm sorry, I'm switching gears on you guys again. So I forget how I went from 4th of July. I was talking about the fireworks, and then I spiraled out to something else. I didn't quite finish my thought. So my Uncle Frank, who's moving to South Carolina, he collected comics also. He collected Captain America and Thor. So he sent me a message on Messenger asking, hey, do you still collect comics? I've got some I want to give away because he doesn't need them. I'm moving to South Carolina. He's trying to get rid of all the junk he doesn't need. So yeah, I'll take them. And so on 4th of July, he comes in with a big box. I thought, oh, yeah, that's pretty cool. I look in, there's a pile of comics, about 30 of them. And then next to it is a crate filled with Pokemon toys. And we'll get into Pokemon in a second as well. And my kids are huge Pokemon fans right now. And these figures, are little action figures, were from my cousin Alex, who is now in his 20s, and he doesn't even deal with that anymore. So he wants to get rid of that out of his house too, because he lives there. He's moving in his own place as well, so he doesn't want as much junk around. So he knew that my kids like the Pokemon stuff. Excuse me. So he gave them to us. So I got a bunch of comics, and the kids got a bunch of Pokemon figures. Now, the comics are really cool because they're Captain America and Thor. And the Captain America ones that I got from my uncle are pre-300. And that in the 280 range. And it's like from 280 to like 295, that type of thing. And it has my favorite creative team on it, J.M. DeMatteis, Mike Zeck, and John Beatty. So I never got these issues. I'd read them in trades and stuff like that. I now have these issues, and I'm ecstatic beyond belief because I love Mike Zeck's artwork. I love John Beatty's inking. I love J.M. DeMatteis' writing. So I can't wait to dive into that. So that was kind of cool about that. And then the fact that we were surprised by the crate of Pokemon toys gave my kids something to play with at the 4th of July. So that was a lot of fun. So thank you, Uncle Frank. Thank you, Cousin Al. A lot of fun. A story that when I was prepping for today's show this morning, I thought was going to be a bad story. But we found out that there's been an update to it and became a good story. So I want to talk about that real quick. Actor Donald Logue, who you may know better now as Harvey Bullock on the Gotham TV show. He's been in a bunch of other stuff as well. He, about 3 weeks ago, or 2 weeks ago, he tweeted something out about his daughter Jade disappearing. Now, that's whenever your child disappears, it's really scary, obviously, because you don't know if they've been kidnapped. They could be dead. They could be getting hurt. Anything could happen, and they don't know. And so it's every parent's worst nightmare is if their kids disappear. And this goes to show you that it's not just regular Joes whose kids disappeared. In this case, it is a celebrity's child that was taken. Now, you think there'd be a lot more of those because you think people would want to kidnap celebrity kids and hold them for ransom so they get a lot of money. But to be honest, I don't really hear much about celebrity kids getting kidnapped. Now, this was something else that happened. That was kind of sad. So he went to Twitter and he posted the phone number of the police officer who was investigating, and he pleaded that whoever has the kid to let him go, no questions asked. His kid, we're not going to ask, we just want her back, and so on and so forth. So 2 weeks have gone by. He would update every once in a while, and his celebrity friends would be retweeting it and talking about it as well. And I retweeted a few times also because I don't want any parent to have to go through the fact that they don't know where their child is. What's going on with them is my greatest fear. One of my greatest fears towards my kids, that they're getting hurt or kidnapped, or they might die. Those are the big things, and that's one of the hardest things about being a parent is you have those thoughts in your head all the time. Like last year, I had the thought that this was my first time my daughter went away on her own, by herself for a week at Girl Scout camp. And there are other girls there and older girls there who would help her out, stuff like that, and lifeguards, stuff like that. But I was afraid that something was going to happen to her at this camp, and nothing did. So she's going away again next weekend for another week camp. So hopefully I'll be able to sleep better. But you're always going to worry about your kids. So the plus side is a little bit before I was doing some last minute prep for the show, I saw that Donald Logue tweeted out that his daughter Jade had been found and returned safely. Nothing, no harm. I didn't go into much detail with the article. I don't want to know what happened. I'm just happy for him that his daughter is back home and safe and doesn't appear to have any problems, injuries, anything like that. So good on that, Donald, and I'm glad you got your family back. One more thing real quick before we get into the nitty gritty of today's episode. And actually, no, I'll save this for after this. I'll save these for after that. Let's see what my friend Patrick said. I didn't quite finish my thought. Nothing at Dawn Snarks has never heard before. Yeah. Yeah, but she married me. We've been married now for almost 14 years. So I have to live with her not being able to hear. So it's a plus and a minus. I can say some stuff that I would never say to her face under my breath and she wouldn't hear me. Other times I'd have to repeat myself and yell in her ear. So that gets kind of annoying after a while, but that's besides the point. But speaking of my lovely wife, the nitty gritty time. It is officially 1 hour into the episode and we're getting into the nitty gritty. I am so good that I was able to do an hour worth of news stuff. And now we're getting the nitty gritty for the next half hour or so. Pokemon Go. Happy anniversary. July 6th, 2016. Pokemon Go was released onto the world. And it became a humongous hit. It was an app on your smartphone. It was on the Google, and it was on iPhone. Yes, glad Jade is safe. Yes, we are all glad Jade is safe. Thank you, Patrick. Extraordinarily happy that he got his daughter back. And so it became a big deal. It was humongous. It became the biggest downloaded app of all time. I think it still holds that distinction too. And it ushered in a new era of people gathering in groups, getting outside, walking around, and doing things. It became a huge pop culture event in 2016 while we were going through that joke of a election cycle. This was a nice way to get away from all the crap we were hearing about the election. I was hesitant at first to get involved with it. I heard how great it was and how everybody in the world, and it was getting to be so big and so popular, stuff like that. Dawn, on the other hand, thought it'd be kind of cool to download. So she became one of the first people to download. I think she downloaded about 3 days in, like tomorrow might be her 1 year anniversary or whatever, and downloaded it. And I always remember the day she downloaded it and got started. It was like a Saturday or a Sunday or something like that. She was in her night clothes because we had still not got up and moved around. We were drinking coffee and just chilling like we do in the mornings. She went outside into our yard to see what it looked like. And sure enough, the 3 starters spawned and she caught her first one. And from that point on, she became addicted to it. So gradually watching her do it and talk about what she did, stuff like that, got me interested in it as well. And it became such a big deal. It's like, yeah, you know what? Why don't I want to do it? Plus, I was seeing how much the kids were interested in it. So I said, you know what? We have 2 kids, and both of them now are trying to take turns on my wife's phone. And she wants to play it herself because she did it for herself. It's her phone. She wanted to play it, but at the same time, she knew the kids would probably be interested in it as well. So the 3 of them were fighting over who was going to play it. It's like, you know what, to make it easier, let me just download it. That way one kid can be with my wife, the other kid can be with me. So I downloaded it, and immediately I started playing also, and I got hooked on it too. My anniversary is going to be July 14th, so I still got a few days left in that, 6 days from now. But Dawn got ahead of me a little bit, so she is now presently about 2 to 3 levels ahead of me because of that. So what's so great about Pokemon Go? Now, after a while, the first couple months during the summer, it was great. And then once fall started hitting, people started getting bored with it because it was the same old thing. And then Niantic, who's the creator of it, they decided to open things up a little bit. And from that point on, they started doing events and doing different changes to it to keep more people interested in it. And it's kept a steady stream of people. And then they released the Gen 2 ones, and then they've redone the gyms around this 1-year anniversary. Now, a lot of you might be saying, what the hell is he talking about? Well, sit back, relax. I'm going to get ready to give you a detailed first-person history about Pokemon Go from my perspective. Need some Zima to start with. It's a free app. It's on any app store. If you have a Google phone, Android, iPhone, whatever, you can download the game. Niantic, who created the game, their whole point of the game is they want to get people out of the house and to exercise. In order to do certain things, you have to walk around. You can't just sit in your house and expect Pokemon to spawn. Again, what the hell are you talking about, Dylan? Well, let's get from the nitty-gritty. What is Pokemon Go? Now, first off, we got to about what is Pokemon. Pokemon's been around since the beginning of the new century, around 2000. Maybe even before then. I'm not 100% certain, but I remember around 2000 because I worked at Diamond Comics for a few years, and it was a big event, and it started off as like a card game. It became a big deal with a card game, and then it became an anime, or maybe it was an anime first, then became a card game. Regardless, it was an anime card game. Mangas were made about it. Stuffed plushy toys were made about it, and it became an iconic thing, particularly in Japan, and it made its way over to America and became almost as iconic in that, because then you had the regular TV show, the cartoon that all the kids watched, and you had the stuffed animals, you had the little figures like my cousin Al got for my kids, and they released new ones almost every year. And then they also released video games. So you could play Pokemon video games, card games, collect the figures, collect the stuffed toys, watch the shows, watch the movies, do all that stuff. It became a huge pop culture phenomenon. And everybody should know what Pokemon is. Pikachu is probably the most famous Pokemon out there. He has his own balloon in the Macy's Day Parade. So Pokemon stands for Pocket Monsters. In Japan, the basic premise is, in their world, on the different islands in Japan, there are different types of Pokemon, and they share the land with humans. There are some humans called trainers who use, we call Pokeballs, to catch Pokemon and train them to fight other Pokemon and also compete in gyms for badges and for winning competitions and for greatness and stuff like that. Yes, okay, my cat's going crazy upstairs. So, well, yes, I'm going to break down Pokemon Go. Thank you, Pat, for letting everybody know that. So come on in if you want to hear about Pokemon Go, because it's the 1-year anniversary. So there's all different types of Pokemon. There's about 9 different types: fire, water, ground, air, grass, dragon, fairy, psychic, ghost, dark, steel, normal. There's probably some I'm missing. Fighting, flying, bug, poison. These are all different types. And so they've created close to 800 of these Pokemon characters. And some are really cool. I mean, some are really colorful. Some have really neat designs. And they all have different personalities and different powers. So the Pokemon trainers, they go out, they catch these guys and train them to be fighters, to fight in gyms for prestige and awards and money and stuff like that. Then there are those that are collecting them for scientific study to see what they, see what makes them tick, and maybe breed them or put them in like competitions, like like a dog show, or in this case, be a Pokemon show, and let them do things like that. And they all have different powers and abilities that they can learn and use to fight. Electric is another type. And then they evolve also. So there might be some that start off as little babies, and the more experience and more combat power they get, they'll evolve to another side with a bigger size, bigger powers, and a different personality. Then there's another time that they might evolve to an even bigger one. So basically, it's like the life cycle. It's a child, adolescent, or teenager, and like a 20-year-old. Then there's some that don't evolve. There's some that only evolve to 2. And then there are legendary and mythical ones, which are really powerful and are very hard to find, but they're out there, and they've been said that they were the ones that created time and space and life and stuff like that. And there's one that's about diseases and stuff like so, but they're mythical and stuff like that. And they use those characters, create them for these stories in the comics or the manga, excuse me, the anime and the TV shows and the movies that they do, and in the games as well. So it all mixes together. So the basic premise is you go around trying to catch Pokemon, and then you can train them to fight other Pokemon. And there are certain types do better against others. Obviously, like fire and water. Ice is another type also. Fire and water. If you had a fire type taking on a water type, the water type would probably beat the fire type. But if a fire type was taking on a grass type, the fire type might be the grass type. So it's all about strategy and figuring out what to do. So it became a big hit. As I said, video games, anime, manga, movies, plushie toys, stuffed animals, cosplayers, conventions of just Pokemon. Pikachu is a Macy's Day Parade balloon. So then Niantic, who is a video game, says, how can we take the next level of Pokemon and make it more interactive, but at the same time get people get out of their house to do it? They created Pokemon Go. Now, with Pokemon Go, you can use your phone, your smartphone that has the camera on it, and you can make it look like that you are, you become a Pokemon trainer, and you walk around your neighborhood, and they have specific ones depending on your biome. Like in the East Coast here in Maryland, and pretty much all up and down the East Coast, since we're right by the water, we get a lot of water types that get spawned here. If you go out to the Midwest, you'll probably get a lot more ground and grass types because there's more ground and grass areas out there. West Coast, you might get more, mountainy ones and fairy ones and stuff like that. So they spread out enough so that they allow a good amount to come, and you get a chance to catch as many as you can. But there's always going to be the same ones that are going to spawn over and over again every time. So after a while, you get tired of getting them because you only have so many things. Now, how does this all work then? Well, you download the game, and you automatically are given Pokeballs, raspberries, revives, potions, an egg incubator, and there's anything else at the early on stage. I can't think of anything else really. And you try to catch these Pokemon. Now, what they'll do is you walk out your door, and you're looking on your phone. So it's basically using like a GPS. So it's got, it doesn't have the houses, but it's got, there's like a map of how your road looks, and you can see, the fields and the grass. So it's taking your neighborhood and putting it in the phone, and you're walking around, and it follows you. So if you're walking down a road, it'll show you walking down the road, and then it shows that it curves, and then it curves, and then you see the big grassy area. So it uses like Google Maps and stuff like that, but instead of it being a realistic portrayal of it, it's an animated version of it. So, but it's your neighborhood. When you go into the city, like in Baltimore City, it's huge. It's all these roads crisscrossing because that's what Baltimore City's like. And then you've got the big harbor that you just see. I'll have some pictures. I'll show you some pictures real quick. So you walk outside your door, and this is the whole point. They want you to walk around, and Pokemon will start to spawn as soon as you start walking around, and your job is to catch them all. You throw, you use it on your phone. You throw the Pokeballs, and you try to catch them. If they jump out, you got to try raspberries. You try different throws. In some cases, they might run away. In some cases, it might take all your balls to catch them, but you might eventually catch them, and then they go into your Pokédex. Now, the premise of the game is you need to catch all the Pokemon that are revealed. So right now, there's about probably 100 Pokemon that are out there now. It's your job to try to catch them all. Now, you're not going to catch them all because not all of them are available in your biome. That's where the eggs come in handy. You get eggs. Before we get to that, though, there's something called a Pokestop. If you keep walking around your neighborhood, eventually you'll find things called Pokestops. There's a sign that has a little dial on it. You spin the dial, and it'll give you Pokeballs, raspberries, eggs, whatever you need. And so you walk around your neighborhood, and you do that. Okay, I'll mention Jen if you want to tweet it to me. I'll mention it on the show. She's not watching it live right now, but she knows that it's going on, and she'll let me know about it. So that's how you get your Pokeballs, and you build them up. You have, you just keep spinning them. My neighborhood has a whole bunch up and down the road, so we walk about a mile, and you hit about 7 Pokestops, and then if you wait long enough, the Pokestops will turn back to blue. Once you spin them once, you can't spin them anymore for about 5 minutes. So you keep walking, and then you come back around, turn back around, and the Pokestops are blue again. You can spin them again and get more stuff. So that's how you build up your stuff. Now, you get eggs in some of those. You're allowed 9 eggs, and you have an egg incubator. So what you do is, let me see what the story is. So you get the egg incubator. So ooh, I like that. I will reveal this, Jen. I'm not going to tell you the story is just yet. I'll do it after I talk my Pokemon and Spider-Man stories. So then you do that, and so you get the egg, you put it in the incubator, and each egg is different. There's one that's 2 kilometers, one that's 5 kilometers, one that's 10 kilometers. You have to walk 2 kilometers, 5 kilometers, or 10 kilometers to hatch it. Now, there are some little hacks you can use. If you turn on your Pokemon Go, don't play it while you're driving because it's dangerous. You get distracted. It causes accidents. That was what happened at the beginning. They didn't have restrictions on it, so people would be playing it while they were driving, and they would get into accidents. And Niantic got to the point, it's like, we can't do this anymore. We're going to get sued if something happens. So they are able to put a little bug in it that you can't catch any Pokemon, and you can't get Pokestops while you're driving. So it makes you focus on driving. But you can turn it on and not touch it and just let it go and drive to work or whatever. Now, if your work is more than 10 kilometers away, you're not going to hatch a 10-kilometer egg. What it does is it knows you're driving because it knows how fast you're going. It can sense how fast you're going, and it uses the maps and stuff like that. So it knows that you're not really walking. And so they'll still give you your steps, but if your work is 10 kilometers away and you drive it, they'll give you maybe 1.5 kilometers, maybe 2. So they want you to walk around the neighborhood and exercise and do this stuff. So when the game started, because a lot of it had to do with these Pokestops were up on Main Street, so we had to get out of our house, walk past the through the middle school fields and go up to the Main Street and go up and down. There's also gyms there, which I'll talk about in a second. We had to get up and walk. So it became a family event. After we ate dinner, it was still light out, being summer. We would get out and we would walk up and down Main Street, maybe go to the Cow for some ice cream. Not every time, but every once in a while maybe we would, and just be together as a family. Even though we were playing Pokemon Go, there were times where nothing was spawning, and so we just sit there and we would talk maybe about the game or about other stuff. So it's a nice bonding thing. And then particularly in the beginning when everybody was doing it, you'd see lots of other people walking around hitting the Pokestops, and so you might say hi to them and say, hey, how you doing? What level are you? What Pokemon have you got? Now, as I said, a lot of different places have different Pokemon. Some places have nests, which if you go to that place, all those Pokemon keep appearing. Like a good example is at the Baltimore Zoo was a Pikachu nest for the longest time. So you'd go and you'd walk the zoo, and Pikachu would pop up all the time. And so it'd be easy to catch a lot of Pikachus. Now, you want to catch a lot because another way to get other Pokemon is that Pikachu starts off as Pichu, which is a little guy. Pikachu's in the middle, and then there's Raichu, which is the big one. In order to evolve Pikachu to a Raichu, so you can have a Raichu in your Pokedex, you need to have like 50 Pokemon candies. And every time you catch a Pikachu with a Pokeball, you get 3 candies. So you want to catch enough to get 50 candies. Or with the eggs, when you're walking, if you walk and you hit the 2 kilometer, 5 kilometer, 10 kilometer mark, there's different Pokemons in those eggs, some of which are not in your area. Those eggs will hatch, and you might get a brand new character you've never seen before and get that added to your Pokédex. Or you might get one that you get all the time, but you get like double or triple the candies. So it helps you out. So if you say you have like 30 Pikachu candies and you're still 20 away from getting a Raichu, and then you hatch a Pikachu, you might get those 20 candies by hatching that Pikachu, and then you can evolve a Raichu. You can also increase their CP by using Poke Candies and Stardust, which you also get for catching Pokemon and hitting poking stops and doing stuff like that. Stardust helps power up your Pokemon. So each Pokemon you catch has a specific CP, as low as 10 CP and as high as like 3,000. Obviously, the ones that have the 3,000 CP are a lot stronger than the ones that have 10. But if you get like a middle of the road one, like a 300 CP Pokemon, if you have enough Stardust and enough of those candies, you can power up that Pokemon so that they go to 400, 500, 600, whatever. It takes a lot of coins or candies and Stardust, and you keep getting them refreshed every day. So you want to, if you want to keep building up their CP, you go ahead and do that. Now, why do you want to build up your combat power? Well, another part of the game is gyms. They go to gyms. There's 3 different groups. There's the yellow group, red group, and blue group. And it's different teams. Team Valor, Team something other, and Team something other. I don't remember the others. I'm Team Blue. So is Dawn. So we're Team Blue. So our job is we want to take over gyms and put just blue Pokemon in there. Our Pokemon on blue team, we want to put into the gyms, and we want to control the gyms because you get XP and you get coins and stuff like that. And then other blue team members that you might not know, they can add their Pokemon and get the same thing. So then you have a stronger gym. Now, in the old gym system, you could put upwards of about 10 Pokemon in the gym. And if someone wanted to take down your gym, like a red team member or a yellow team member, they would have to fight all 10 of those Pokemon in order to bring it down. Now, it happened. It was able to happen, but they just recently redid the gyms recently to draw attention back to the game and for the 1-year anniversary. So you only are allowed now 5 or 6 in there as well. And it's a lot easier to take them down and to add stuff as well. So we've been doing that more often. And there's also something called raids now, where really, really powerful Pokemon, like 20,000 X or CP, would show up. And if you work with other people to take them down out of that gym, you get a chance to catch a less powerful one. Like a good example is a Tyranitar, which is a Pokemon that I don't have yet. It's a final evolution of a character that I don't have enough candies yet to do it. But if I was able to take one down in a raid, I would be able to, after the raid was over, I would have a less powerful one. I mean, it wouldn't be a 34,000 power CP one. It would be like a 1,500 power one, which is still a good one. And I could use these special Premier Balls to catch it, and then it would be in my Pokédex. So that's a way for people to get Pokemon that they might not have been able to get as well. So I've been doing that as well. That's kind of fun too. So the main premise is you walk around your neighborhood, you catch Pokemon that spawn, you incubate your eggs, and you walk to hatch them to get Pokemon you might not have, or to get ones that will give you more candy so you can evolve Fist quicker. You also want to level up. They give you a specific, you have to reach 300,000 points, and you get points for evolving and catching and Pokestops and fighting in gyms, stuff like that. So if you reach that 300 1,000 point level, you get moved up to the next level, you get a bunch of other stuff and more, and you get more stuff opened up for you, like a harder Pokemon and stronger Pokemon get spawned for you, and ones you don't see as much might get spawned for you better than others. You get Pokecoins every time you win or keep a gym in your power, and you use those Pokecoins to buy more stuff that you need that you won't be able to get from Pokestops. And you want to keep doing Pokestops. They've added bonus days where every day you get more XP, more Stardust if you visit every day for 7 days, and the powers go up. So you get your experience points to level up, go up every day for 7 days, and then starts over again with 1 day every time you visit a Pokestop or you catch a Pokemon. So there's a lot of things out there now for you to go around there now. The basic you need to know is you go out your door, you walk around your neighborhood, or you go into Baltimore City, or you go to the ocean, or you go overseas because it is an international game, or you go to the Midwest or California, whatever, and they'll open up your game and you'll find different Pokemon popping up all the time. Ones that you might not get normally in your neck of the woods, you can find elsewhere. So even if you're traveling for vacation or you have relatives somewhere, always open up your Pokemon Go. There might be different Pokemon in those areas because the nests, as I was talking about, they change. As I said, the Baltimore Zoo one was a Pikachu one for a while, but every once in a while they move the nests and then they add a different one. It used to be a Voltorb nest, which was a electronic little ball thing that I'd never gotten one before. I got like 10 at the zoo one time because it was a nest. And then there's ones you're going to get all the time. There's the Rattatas and the Pidgeys and the Sentrets. And the Spinnerax that we get in our neighborhood all the time, and they always spawn. So you get to a point where you're like, I don't need these anymore. So you don't, you don't try to catch them. And then Niantic, to try to draw interest to the game a little bit more, they've been doing events. Like the first one they did was the Halloween event, where they released a bunch of, or they spawned more Ghost and Dark types. Normally you might get a few Ghost and Dark types spawning every once in a while, but during the Halloween event, which usually lasts about 7 days, they spawn more Gengars and Haunters and Cubones and Marowaks and Ghastlies. So they would spawn all the time. And those are ones you don't normally see. So you'd go all crazy and catch as many as you can and evolve and do stuff like that. And then, once that event was over, it would go back to where they would spawn only every once in a while. And then they would do another one for November and then one for Christmas. And every month now they do an event in some form or another. And it's a way to draw attention, to get people back in the game and to go back to playing it, because after a while it does get boring because the same old stuff keeps spawning. You're always walking and your eggs are hatching and it takes a while to get them to hatch, and you do the Pokestops and it gets monotonous after a while. So people need to get a little bit more exciting. I don't mind it when it gets a little monotonous, though. I like to have the events as well, like everybody else does, because you get more different stuff. So you have that. And then they released Generation 2. Now, Generation 1 was the first one that went from July to February. And then Generation 2, they dumped 100 new characters in there. And then once again, from February to like April, it was huge again because they were all brand new characters you've never seen before. And they would still spawn the older stuff as well, but not as much. It would be an even split. There would be some Generation 2s and Generation 1s that would spawn, and you could choose which ones you wanted. And so your Pokédex expanded. Now they have, I think my daughter said, 6 to 8 generations. So they have plenty more Pokemon to still reveal in the game, and they're working constantly to put them into the game. So it was like an 8-month period. It was like July to February. So July to August, September, October, November, December, January, February, 7 months. So it looked like maybe every 7 months they're going to probably release a new generation. So the last time a generation was released was in February. So February to March, April, May, June, July, August, September. So there's a possibility that when September rolls around, they'll release Generation 3 characters. They're also going to be releasing the mythical and legendary ones, which they have to figure out a way to make it hard for you to get them because they're going to be very powerful. But at the same time, they want to make it easy enough that you'll be able to have a chance at least to get them. And the biggest rumor right now is they're going to release them through the raids. They're just starting the raids now, and they're just using characters that, you know, you can acquire now and give you a chance to see if the raid system works. And it seems to be being successful. So when they decide to release the Legendary, which they said they're going to do this year, and Mythical ones, they're going to do it this year, they are in discussions that they're going to do them as raids and make them really powerful. And that means you can't, if you get a powerful, like a 34,000 Legendary or whatever, you can't take it down by yourself. You can't take it down with you and a partner. You've got to be with a group of people. And that's another social aspect of it. You see, it gives you a countdown to when the raid starts, and you go, and there's going to be a bunch of other Pokemon players of all teams. I mean, yellows, reds, and blues all work together to take down this powerful Pokemon. And if you all succeed, you all get a chance to catch a less powerful one, but you'll be able to get a chance to catch it. And that's what makes the game really kind of special. So it's a really fun game. And I understand why a lot of people might not like it. It might not be up their alley. They think that it got too much press or whatever. But it's a fun game. It's for family outings. Dawn and I, we are huge fans of it. And when we have our date nights, yeah, we go out to dinner, we go to movies or whatever. I earned a medal. Defend gyms for 100 hours. Yes, my guys are still in there. Poliwrath fought hard. Oh no, Poliwrath got beaten. Okay. And Espeon fought hard in return. So both my guys got beaten. So I had 2 Pokemons in gyms, and they both got beaten. So let me see. Let me see if I can get a gym. I'm trying to do that. Let's see who's in there now. Okay, so this is what one of the gyms look like. It's under control blue right now. And there's the Pokemon that are in there. So these are the ones that this is my team. This is my team. So I want to protect them when I can. So I wouldn't try to take them down. Okay, and there's a Lapras, a Vaporeon, and a Golem here. So that's pretty cool. So those are the ones that are going on in the gyms right now. So we'll have to go in there. And then here's what it sort of looks like. See, this is my neighborhood right now. And that's a Rattata right there. So that's my house where I'm at right now. And there's a Rattata that spawned there. So I can try to catch them if I want to, but I'm not going to. But that's what the game looks like. And I can't believe I defended gym for 100 hours, and now I got to go back and put one in tomorrow. Oh, well, it's okay. But it's a fun game. And Dawn and I, when we have our date nights, every time we do Pokemon Go. When we went downtown for her birthday, we spent the night downtown. We went outside 3 times around the harbor. This is what Tyranitar looks like. This is what a raid looks like. So it's a 34,000. Where is it? 34,707 Tyranitar. So it would take a number of people to take him down. And let's see if I can find some from our. But yeah, so Dawn and I, for our date nights, whenever the kids were with their grandparents or whatever, this is what the inner harbor looks like. When the kids were at their grandparents' house, we were having a date night, we would do Pokemon Go. I mean, totally, we would. It was just me and her. We would walk around, and we would have a lot of fun, and we walked and talked and held hands and did stuff that married people do. But we also were Pokemon Go hunting. We did it downtown like 3 times, twice. Once after we saw the show, once we checked into our hotel, we weren't ready for dinner yet, so we went back out, walked around the harbor, and then came back, had dinner, and it was nighttime. We went back out late at night, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, to walk around, and then the next morning we went out and walked around before we left. And then there was another date night where we dropped the kids off at my mom's house, and then we drove around and hit Pokestops in various neighborhoods and fought in gyms and stuff like that. So Dawn and I, even though we let our kids play it with us, we like to play it by ourselves also and do our own thing. So it's a lot of fun. But, if the kids want to do it, the kids want to do it. So I don't know if I have anything else to add to it because I've talked a lot about it. But I recommend that everybody should at least check it out. It's a lot of fun. They're doing a lot of stuff now for the anniversary edition. And the game is really easy to understand. And I just lost everybody. Talk about Pokemon. That's okay. You're never going to hear the story that Gen M said unless you come back and watch the show later. So Pokemon Go was good on that. So that's my discussion about Pokemon Go. Now we'll talk about Spider-Man a little bit. Spider-Man. I want to see the movie. It looks good. I like Tom Holland's appearance in Civil War, and this movie looks really good and entertaining. From what I've heard from people who've seen it, they said this is a definitive Spider-Man. It blows Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire out of the water, and he is the definitive Spider-Man. So good on that, to Tom Holland and stuff like that. But my dad was the first one to get me into comics. He gave me his collection of Spider-Man comics, and I started reading them when I was young. And then once I got enough money together doing chores or my allowance or whatever, I would go to the local news center because there weren't really any comic book stores at that time. And every week they would have new comics in there, and I would always find ones that had Spider-Man in. Now, not every week Spider-Man comic would be out, so I wouldn't buy anything. But then as I got older, I would discover that Spider-Man crossed over into the Avengers, or the X-Men, or Fantastic Four, or whatever, and I would buy that issue because Spider-Man was in it. And then I would read it, and then I would get intrigued by the characters, the Avengers, Fantastic Four, X-Men, whatever. So then I would go to the comic book store or the news center, and if there was a new Spider-Man, I'd say, oh, let me see what Avengers is like. I'd pick up the new Avengers, new Fantastic Four, and that's how my comic obsession started. Spider-Man at the time had Amazing Spider-Man, Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man. When I got older, they released Web of Spider-Man and Marvel Team Up. So, and then Marvel Tales, which was reprints of the older issues of Spider-Man, which I didn't have. You know, the Ditko, the Romita Senior issues, stuff like that. I didn't have them, so I could physically buy a copy of it. It was a reprint, but it had a new cover on it. But it was a reprint, and I could read the comic, and I wouldn't have to pay a lot of money to get the original story because I had the reprint right there in my hands with a new cover on it. So that was kind of neat. So that's gradually how I became a comic book collector. So as time goes by, I liked more and more different characters. Spider-Man was still always there. But then I got older, things started to change, and Spider-Man was still always there. But there would be times where I wouldn't buy. There's holes in my Spider-Man collection. I think the oldest issue my dad had was 137. The retrospect, Spider-Man is in the 700. Well, if they didn't keep restarting it over and over again, it would be in the 700 to 800 range right now. So the first issue that my dad had that wasn't a reprint, or it was just like the first of the one that he kept a straight line on, was issue 137. And he has basically issues 137 through, I would say, like 210. So 137 all the way to 210. There might be a hole in there. I think 193 he might not have. No, he has 193. That was the Fly. No, maybe it was later on, I think. So basically 137 to like 210. My dad and I combined had a complete run. Then there's little breaks from there's maybe a 212, and there's like a 216, 217, and then like a 220, 225, and then I would get like a 229. And so I had like 229 now to like 234, and then like 237 to like 251, and then like 253 on. And down the line also, they used to do subscriptions through the mail. So I would get a subscription to Spider-Man. So I would get a Spider-Man comic sent to me in the mail. So that was starting around issue 253 for a subscription for 12 issues. And I could renew it every year like a magazine. And that was always kind of cool because I'd get it, I might get it maybe a little later than, say, comic book stores might. But it was always around the same time, and I got it direct to my mailbox, and so I tore it open, and I got my new. So it was really cool. So a lot of them I got via the mail. which they don't do anymore, which is a shame, but it's still kind of cool. And so, also during the time, the 1970s, the Spider-Man TV show was on, the live action with Nicholas Hammond. It was goofy, it was terrible, but it was Spider-Man, and I watched it when I was younger. I watched some of the Spider-Man cartoons, Spider-Man's Appearance at Electric Company. There were records where they would have actors do the voices of the characters, and you could read along in the comic. I did a bunch of Spider-Man ones with that as well. That was always cool. And I'd always hoped that eventually they would do a movie, and they actually never got around to doing a movie until the Tobey Maguire movies in around the 2000s. And they came about due to the success of the X-Men and the X-Men movie. When the X-Men movie came out and did really well, they said, okay, what's the next character we can do? Spider-Man was the most obvious one. So they did Spider-Man. They did the Tobey Maguire trilogy, which, the first two aren't bad. They're not fantastic. They're not bad. The third one's terrible. And then they skipped a few years down the line, and then they did Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone. And they only did 2 of those, and they were okay. And then Sony had the rights to Spider-Man, and around that time, after the Andrew Garfield ones, around that same time was when the MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe, was building, and people wanted Spider-Man in the MCU because they were doing the MCU right. But Sony wasn't giving up Spider-Man because it was their cash cow. Even though the Andrew Garfield movies underperformed, they still made a lot of money. And the fact that the MCU is being so successful, if they made a Spider-Man movie, it would make some money. But when Amazing Spider-Man Part 2 came out and didn't do what they thought it would, they thought, maybe our way of doing things were being overshadowed by Marvel, this Marvel Cinematic Universe. Maybe we should make a deal. So they made a deal with the MCU where they would split any profits that Spider-Man made, and they would create a new Spider-Man, in this case Tom Holland. They would introduce him into the MCU in Civil War, Captain America Civil War, and then they would make their own Spider-Man movie, and then they would throw him into the MCU. So now he was an official member of the MCU. It was a deal they made out with Sony. So, as I said, I like the first 2 Tobey Maguire ones are okay. Didn't hate them. Hated the third one. And the Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man ones were okay, but again, there was just something about them that just didn't quite ring true for me. I don't know, but this Tom Holland Spider-Man is interesting, and I can even overlook the fact that we have sexy Aunt May and Marissa Tomei. I can overlook that fact, but I like it, and I can't wait to see the movie. So, and I just like the character in general. The character is an everyman. He's a guy who was a nerd, who was bullied, who was picked on. And even when he got his powers, nothing seemed to be going right for him. The girls he liked didn't like him. He was still getting bullied, and he couldn't fight back because then they would reveal that he was Spider-Man, so he kept getting bullied. And then he would take it out on the villains, but then his villains would get smarter and get tougher, and they would be harder to beat. And so he had a lot more going and that he had to deal with. And so he's your everyman guy. He's a guy that, he has superpowers, but he has trouble just like you. He has trouble making his rent. He has trouble getting to places on time. He doesn't have a car. He can't make rent. He can't find a job. He can't have a girlfriend, hold a girlfriend. But he still goes out and he still gives it his all to protect you. Even people who don't like him, he still goes out of his way to protect them. And he uses his humor as a way to defend himself because he's so scared. Shitless, I guess, is the proper term of that. That he he jokes to ease out of his being scared to make him feel better. I'm a collector of pops also, and I don't even have a Spider-Man pop, which is a shame. And I hadn't really been reading the comic lately either because I lost track of it. All this crazy stuff was going on. I had other stuff that I was interested in. I still buy it occasionally. I still have it, but there's lots of big gaps now. I mean, there was times I stepped away from comics for years and for months, and so I'm missing a lot of stuff from my Spider-Man thing. One day, maybe I'll sit down. I'll get all my Spider-Man books. I still got my dad's books. They're probably over here. I still have them. Maybe I'll sit down one day and just look at them all, catalog all of them, and see where my holes are, and then go out and buy them, so I can have a full collection. We'll see. But Spider-Man, here's to you. Pokemon Go, here's to you. About 20 more minutes left of this silly show, and then I'm done. And I already lost all my viewers for now. That's okay. Now they're going to miss the best stuff. Let's do Jen M's story first. Usual viewer of the show, Jen M. She can't watch it live today. That's okay. The fact is, she will watch it later. I know Jen, and I know Jen. She will watch my show later, maybe tomorrow when I post it, whatever. Here's a great story. Elderly woman flashes stunned crowd at Dodger Stadium. So I guess she was like on their Diamond Vision, I guess, and she flashed them. An elderly lady. An elderly woman shown dancing on the video board between innings at Dodger Stadium proceeded to flash the crowd. Fans cheered her daring dance moves, and perhaps emboldened by their cheers, the smiling woman quickly lifted her blue shirt, revealing a white bra underneath in the 7th inning on Saturday night. The camera quickly cut away, but it wasn't in time. There was a collective gasp from the crowd of 45,225, many of whom began laughing. The crew working the stadium video room where the camera shots are handled broke out in laughter. The white-haired woman wearing a Dodgers visor has been shown on the video board earlier in the game. So she had been shown earlier, and then she showed her again, and the crowd, she was dancing, the crowd was cheering her and doing stuff, and she got brave and then went, woo, like that on the video board, and then cut away from the board. That's a funny story. So thanks, Jen. I like it. I like it a lot. So thanks for getting me that story. I didn't see that one. It happened tonight. So, that's a live story. So way to go, Jen. Thanks. Boom. I'm done all my Pokemon Spider-Man stuff. So I already did these. All right. A fight over Star Wars and Star Trek, which one was better, leads to an arrest. A guy was arguing with a coworker about what was better, Star Wars or Star Trek. One was a Star Wars fan, one was a Star Trek fan. They had a heated argument, and one walked away, and the other one didn't like it, came up behind him, pushed him down. He got back up, pushed him back down again. So he charged with assault. And I guess that's about his knife. He pulled the knife out and was going to stab him or something, over what was better, Star Wars or Star Trek. There's an episode back when I first started this show almost 4 years ago. Dawn was going to do a show once a month for me to give me a breather. She'll end up doing about 3 episodes, and then she just said, I'm not interested in doing it, which is fine. But one episode, she and her co-host was her sister Catherine, because the two of them together are insane. And some of those 3 shows are absolutely excellent. Go to my playlist. Go to my YouTube page, Dylan Lang, in the search engine. Go to my YouTube page, go to my playlist, look for Dylan Knows. There's about 300 videos in there. Look, down near the middle, you'll see a bunch that my wife did. And one of those she did where it was her sister and her debating which was better, Star Wars or Star Trek. Dawn was for Star Trek and Catherine was Star Wars. So that was a civil discourse and a very entertaining episode. And that was really the last one they kind of did. So, but a fight over what is better, Star Wars or Star Trek, that leads to violence it's sad, but it's also kind of funny too. And no one was hurt and killed. So some got arrested, but they deserved it. Gotham by Gaslight. One of my favorite one-shots of all time is the story Gotham by Gaslight. Mike Mignola is one of my favorite artists of all time. If I did a top 10 list, he'd be in the top 5. And he was working for DC at this time, and I think it was Brian Augustin wrote a story about an alternate reality Batman where Batman was in England. In England there was a vigilante Batman. There was a Bruce Wayne, but he was British. And this Gotham by Gaslight story takes place in the 1800s, and it deals with Jack the Ripper. It'd be if Batman took on Jack the Ripper. Now, it's a Victorian era Batman, so he's got the Victorian era costumes and tech and stuff like that, and it's really a really cool design by Mignola. And it's a great story, and I have a story behind that. It's about I've done a Thanksgiving show a couple times, and I've discussed it before, but I got this, the one shot came out at Thanksgiving, and I bought it, and I was going to go to my Aunt Jane's house for Thanksgiving, and that night I got a bad 24-hour stomach virus after Thanksgiving dinner. And I spent a lot of that time reading and rereading the Gotham by Gaslight story. I absolutely love it. They did a sequel of it. I got it collected in a trade in the back. I'm not going to pull it out now because it's dark and scary back there. But DC's animated film division has been making animated films of a lot of their popular stories. The newest one coming out in August is Batman and Harley Quinn. It's going to be like a 48 hours type of story where Batman and Harley Quinn have to team up to save Gotham City. Looks. They got Kevin Conroy back, who voiced Batman in the Batman animated series, but it's basically 48 hours, but with Batman and Harley Quinn, and that's an original story that never appeared in a comic. So that's good. But then there are people who've gotten a sneak preview of the movie already, the video, the DVD, or whatever you want to call it, the digital, whatever. And they discovered in one of the extras scenes, not extra scenes, but extras section on the DVD, that DC is announcing that the next animated film is going to be Gotham by Gaslight. So as long as they can keep the Mignola artwork, animation, and style, I might have to pick this one up because it is a really good story, and I need to reread it also. But I just want to let people know that that's going to be a thing. Probably maybe not till the fall. It would make sense to release it around Christmas or Thanksgiving. That'd be awesome. So we'll see. I think there's an anniversary coming up with Jack the Ripper soon. I don't know. It was like 1888 or something like that. So I kind of remember when 1980 happened and they did a bunch of Jack the Ripper things for the 100th anniversary. So I guess it would be more than that because 88, 98, 2008, 2018 is only 130 years. So it's not really a big event. It's like 125 or 150. It's 130. So it's not a big thing, but it's still interesting. It's always been an interesting true crime story. But to see Batman take on Jack the Ripper, drawn by Mike Mignola, is fantastic. Deadpool 2 has started filming. I don't like the character of Deadpool in the comics. Never have. And for the longest time, I was not going to watch the movie because I didn't like the character. But what drew me to want to watch it, way after the huge popularity of it, is the fact that Ryan Reynolds was all in on it. And that's what made me appreciate the film and decide that I wanted to see it, because Ryan Reynolds, this was a character that he absolutely loves, and it's a character that he would probably play for the rest of his life if he could. He took the costume away after filming. He was basically the guy that got the movie made, and then he promoted the hell out of it via YouTube videos and silly commercials and silly ads and posters, stuff like that. And that in turn is what made it be so successful, because you would see all this Deadpool stuff and people would be interested and they would laugh and stuff like that. And then they see the ads for it, the trailers, like, oh, we should check this out when it comes out. And so it would come out. It came out around Valentine's Day and they all went crazy. The movie made a ton of money. So now Deadpool 2 has started filming. It's going to come out next year then, I think. I'm not 100% certain or not, but I think it is next year. I mean, they're filming now, so they still got plenty of time to film and then edit and then get it in there. So it looks like that we'll probably get Deadpool 2 next year. But it's already started. The first day of filming was a picture of him in Deadpool outfit outside of the set for the Professor Xavier school in the X-Men movies, kind of teasing it being there. And at the same time, the X-Men movie was out and about, and it drew attention to that, so that was kind of cool. But the one that really got me was this week, the Justice League, the movie coming out supposedly in November. I mean, I don't know, with Joss Whedon taking back over doing reshoots and stuff like that, it might get delayed, but as of now, it's supposed to come out in November. There have been posters put up all over the place for the Justice League, and one of them is a shot of all the Justice Leaguers on their sides, standing on their side looking in this way. So you see them all in a row like that. Well, Deadpool, probably Ryan Reynolds' idea, photoshopped Deadpool into the poster for the Justice League and then posted it on Facebook. So it's Superman, Batman, Aquaman, The Flash, Deadpool, and Wonder Woman? What? And Deadpool just sort of sitting there like, huh? It's really funny. So it's already begun, and the marketing has already started on that. So hopefully it'll be just as entertaining as this one when it came out a couple years ago. This day in movie history, not this day, but July 5th, 1976, in movie history, Forrest Gump started his run across the country. I saw that and I thought, okay, that's kind of funny. I may as well mention it there. Amelia Earhart, back in the news. Supposedly, someone discovered a photo which proves that Amelia Earhart faked her death and lived to a ripe old age, and they posted it. And it's of a woman sitting on a dock with her head to the side a little bit, and it's hard to tell. She's got the same sort of hairstyle as Amelia Earhart and looks a little like Amelia Earhart, but it's hard to tell. And there's other people around them, so you can't really tell. She's sort of just in the background. But people jumped on that and said that's proof, definitive proof that Amelia Earhart is still alive, is this picture. And I don't buy it. It could be someone that looks exactly like her. Could it be her? Absolutely. Could she have survived? Absolutely. Could she have faked her death? Absolutely. That's one of the theories out there. I just don't believe this picture. It's just me, though. This will probably have to wait since I only have about 5 more minutes before I hit my 2-hour note. I read a book called Braving It. I'll probably do the review maybe next week. And I'll do my baseball movie countdown. I'm pushing it off again next week as well. Braving It, about a father and a daughter having 3 adventures in Alaska. It's based on a true story. It's a really good story. Yes, thank you. Scott Troutman agrees with me. The photo was too grainy to believe, in my opinion. Yes, I agree with that, Scott. So thank you. It was hard to tell. And it was from her side, too. It wasn't a frontal shot. It was her back, and she was sort of looking this way, so her side was, you couldn't really tell. The hairstyle, Amelia Earhart has specific style hair. Maybe people liked it, and women liked it, and they got the same hairstyle. So it happens. Look what happened with Jennifer Aniston during the height of Friends. Twin Peaks, I'm going to have a discussion about Twin Peaks, but the one thing I got to tell you about this new season, the music is phenomenal. There are 4 songs that I absolutely love listening to. It's a hip-hop song, The Shadow by the Chromatics, Windswept by Johnny John, and a 60s song. I'll get more of the details, but the music that David Lynch has been adding to the series, aside from Angelo Badalamenti's score, has been phenomenal. Now, I had a little issue with 9 Inch Nails' concert. Their one song they did in episode 8, because I'm not a 9 Inch Nails fan, but it went on for like 6 minutes, and he played the whole song. It was great. I mean, it's 9 Inch Nails and back and stuff like that, but it wasn't my thing. Anything else? So I'll do my review of Braving It next week. I will do my baseball movie countdown next week. And the only thing I need to do is I need to do my Check Eye Day, like I always do. For those who've watched the show before, you know that every week I talk about Check Eye Day. It is a website, checkeyeday.com. And it also has a Twitter account at Check Eye Day, where every day is a holiday, and they post the weird holiday for each day. A good example, today's holidays are Be a Kid Again Day, Math 20 Day, National Ice Cream Sundae Day. I have some Twinkie ice cream downstairs in the cooler freezer over here. I'm probably going to eat after I finish the show. I'll let you know about that next week also. National Milk Chocolate with Almonds Day. I'm not a big almonds fan, but milk chocolate's awesome. Scud Day, which is not what you think, not the Scud missiles from the old Iraq war. No, it's Savor the Comic, Unplug the Drama Day. Scud, S-C-U-D. Savor Comic, Unplug Drama, whatever that means. It's Video Game Day, so if you're a video gamer, you've only got 22 minutes before it's not. So go enjoy your video games. Yesterday, Friday the 7th, was Chocolate Day, Comic Sans Day, which is a type of letter on your computer font. Father-daughter take a walk together day. That was today for me and my daughter. Global Forgiveness Day, National Macaroni Day, National Strawberry Sundae Day, Tell the Truth Day. Thursday, this past Thursday, the 6th, was International Kissing Day, National Air Traffic Control Day, National Fried Chicken Day, Take Your Webmaster to Lunch Day, Umbrella Cover Day. And then the 5th was Bikini Day, National Apple Turnover Day, National Graham Cracker Day, National Workaholics Day. And then tomorrow, which is my cousin Amanda's birthday, so happy birthday early to you, Amanda. You're old. She was born about 3 weeks after I was, so it's a joke. I say it all the time. She calls me old man even though she's only 3 weeks younger than me. Anyway, tomorrow's holidays that you'll be able to celebrate will be Barn Day, Call of the Horizon Day, Fashion Day, Martyrdom of the Bab, National Don't Put All Your Eggs in One Omelet Day, National Sugar Cookie Day, and that's it. So some good stuff tomorrow. So those are your holidays for the last few days. So enjoyed that. I'm just going to respond to Jen. Used on show. Thanks. Which means she's going to have to watch it. And that's it. I lost everybody at the Pokemon Go stuff, but I highly recommend upload the app. It is addictive. It's a lot of fun. And just go out and you catch stuff. And there's a lot of really neat Pokemon out there. It's inspired me that I have a story idea for like a film noir Pokemon story, which I'm writing right now. My daughter's helped me out because she knows a lot about it. Her and my son, they love Pokemon. They love those figures. And my cousin Alex got them. We have our own figures here. We got lots of stuffed animals. So we're a big Pokemon family here. So I highly recommend upload the app if you have the time, obviously. It's a lot of fun. It's a little frustrating, but it's a lot of fun. It really is. And there's some big stuff coming. The Legendary is going to be coming soon. Gen 3 will be coming really soon. And Halloween's right around the corner. We're probably going to be able to do the Halloween event as well. One last thing before I go. I hate summer. I've talked about this for many years, and I talked about it on the show a couple weeks ago and last week, stuff like that. But I will have to give props for today. It was 88 degrees here in Baltimore, but the humidity was nil, and it was tolerable. A little warm, but there's a nice little breeze blowing, and it was tolerable and enjoyable. So as long as the humidity isn't too high, summer's okay. But I'm not putting all my eggs in one omelet, which is tomorrow. I'm not going to do that because I know as soon as next week it looks like it's going to be back in the 90s and hot and humid, and I got to go back to freaking work. So I got only one more day off, which is tomorrow, Sunday. Another daddy-daughter day. We'll figure out something to do. I think we're going to go to a movie. I think we're going to see Despicable Me 3. Then do some grocery shopping, and then we'll see what else we got going on. So it's just me and her again tomorrow. Dawn and my son Noah don't come back till Monday. So until then, I'll see you guys then. I don't know when the next show is going to be. It'll be either Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, depending on stuff. It's probably just going to be me, and it's going to be episode 199. I'm almost to 200, and I have no idea what I'm going to do yet. I'm going to do anything special, but bug again. Ugh, second bug today. Watch my show, The Comic Hall, every Wednesday or Friday, where I talk about comics. I did one today. It's posted. It was posted around 6 o'clock. Check that out. This episode will be posted in about an hour, hour and a half, depending on how long it takes to upload. And we've got Shark Week, which I already talked about, coming up at the end of the month. Another episode of Dylan Knows coming next weekend. Another episode of The Comic Hall coming next week. So gear up. I think, as I said, I think next week I will do my review of Braving It and the baseball movie countdown, which I've been putting off for weeks. So eventually I'm going to have to do that. More Check Eye Day stuff next week, and then we'll see what this week brings. Anything exciting. Pokemon Go. Happy birthday, happy anniversary. Spider-Man, go see Spider-Man. Go enjoy your time. It's summer. Go spend some time outside, as long as it's not too hot. Hopefully, hope for good news and good stuff to happen to you all. Thank you for watching. Scott and Patrick, particularly, and I had a few other people in there. Jen, for sharing your article. Thanks for watching, guys and gals. And that's all I ask, is people to come in and interact with me. So until next week, I'm Dylan from Dylan Knows. I am Top Ramen. And if you find Top Ramen chicken Pringles, buy them, try them. Let me know what they're like. If I find them before then, I'll buy them, try them, and let you know. All right? I'm going to go eat some Twinkie ice cream now. Enjoy. Thanks. Happy birthday, Amanda.